Darkness falls across the land. Creatures crawl in search of blood.
Nobody knocks off an old man in my neighborhood.
Hello there. Welcome to my review of episode 11 of Eerie, Indiana, Marshall's Theory of Believability. Professor Nigel Zircon, played by John Standing, Professor of Believability, has brought his travelling exhibition of the weird into town. He's sort of a P.T. Barnum, Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, with strange exhibits that fascinate Marshall and Simon. They marvel at Zircon's UFO pictures, and Zircon introduces himself to the boys, just before the mayor asks to speak to him, seemingly unhappy with the show being in town.
Call it whatever you want. It's generating hubbub inside Eerie city limits without a permit.
Zircon fobs him off to give a talk to the assembled crowd about a UFO that he is certain is heading for Eerie. That night, the boys keep watch on the skies above Eerie, hoping to impress the professor with their prowess. They want Zircon to help investigate the weirdness that they see every day in Eerie. Zircon seems to be planning something with his assistant, Claude, played by Michael J. Pollard, when the boys approach with a plaster cast of a Bigfoot footprint.
How does it look?
Don't worry, you're gonna love it. It's my best work yet.
They'll be lined up round the block. Let's have a look.
Excuse me, Professor Zircon.
Before they can go much further, the mayor arrives to shut the museum down. Zircon plans to move on, but Marshall suggests a new place for him to set up, in the teller's driveway, much to his father's disgust. Meanwhile, Claude is out in the woods, seemingly followed by Eerie's Bigfoot. Zircon attempts to charm Mr. Teller, but to no avail.
I have to make my stand. For your information, Professor Zircon, I interned at the Smithsonian Institute before entering Syracuse to do my undergraduate work on archaeology. And then...
In the woods, meanwhile, Claude is setting up a fake UFO, only to be interrupted by Bigfoot, a lady Bigfoot by all accounts, who takes a shine to Claude, scaring him off. Simon and the tellers and the professor discover his ruse in the woods, and it causes a media sensation. The mayor wants to buy the unidentified object to act as a tourist attraction, and the professor is holding out for more money. Mr. Teller, meanwhile, is attempting to convince Marshall that the professor's a fraud, and this time he's right about the weirdness being fake. Marshall attempts to prove his dad wrong, but ends up proving him entirely correct. Just as the mayor strikes a deal with Zircon, Marshall and Simon arrive with proof of the fraud. Zircon flees, and Mr. Teller comforts Marshall. That evening, Zircon and Claude turn up to see Marshall and try to explain why Zircon was trying to con the town. Claude spots the UFO and tells them all that that's not the device that he hid in the woods. At that moment, it starts flashing and flies off into the sky.
I don't believe it.
This is a really important episode for the series, as it explores the nature of belief. Even though we and Marshall know that truly unexplained things happen regularly in Eerie, and Marshall is naturally taken in by Zircon's con, he changes his mind when presented with complete proof of the fraud. He really wants to believe in Zircon, but doesn't try to convince himself in the face of evidence that proves none of it is real. I think the episode is telling its audience you should always retain a healthy dose of skepticism. If anyone is trying to get you to believe in something while also trying to sell you something, they're probably a fraud. It doesn't matter that the UFO turns out to be real at the end, because Zircon thought it was a fake and was trying to sell it because he thought it was a hoax. Anyone who tells you that they alone possess the secret to life, the universe, or anything is probably trying to sell you something like Zircon is. That might be the most important message this show delivers. It's not attempting to say you shouldn't believe in that which is yet unproven. It's saying that you should believe in the proof when you are given it, even if it's not what you wanted to hear. And if someone is trying to sell you on a different idea, they are doing it for themselves, not for your benefit. For that reason, for me, this is a solid gold 5 out of 5 episode. Even in the world of the weird, there's still con men out there trying to sell you something that isn't real. Thank you. Goodbye.